This video is part of the Move On When Reading Application Support Series and will focus on entering the school level literacy plan and completing all information for the Professional Development Plan section. This portion of the literacy plan is in direct support of Arizona Revised Statute 15704, which states all school districts and charter schools that offer instruction in kindergarten programs and grades 1 through 3 shall provide ongoing teacher training based on evidence-based reading research. Arizona Revised Statute 15211 requires that each school district and charter school shall ensure that at least one kindergarten through third grade teacher in each school has received training related to dyslexia that complies with the requirements prescribed in Section 15219. The first 4 text boxes are to enter a brief narrative outlining the professional development plan for each area of focus and who may be providing that training. There is a 400 character count limit for each text box. It is recommended that you type these in another document and copy and paste into this portal. Be as explicit as possible in describing the plan for this school year. Note that these descriptions do not describe Tier 1 and Tier 2 practices, nor the typical process of data analysis. Rather, the PD provided targeted to improve your teacher's efficacy of improving assessment administrations and analyzing data. It is not required that a school focus on all 4 areas each year. Should your plan not include a focus in one of these areas, please detail that information in that selected text box. Directly below the text boxes are radio buttons to indicate the grade levels that will be participating in the described PD this year. A school may only be a 3rd through 5th grade campus and therefore would select No for the K2 grade levels. It may also be the case that a school is targeting PD for specific grade levels. This should also be indicated in the narratives. Please select these grade levels appropriately. Lastly, you will select Yes if the professional development program used by your school meets ESSA evidence levels. Typically, PD provided by an outside vendor has valid and reliable results, therefore may be evidence-based. If PD is created by school staff, it is not likely to be evidence-based. There is no penalty for selecting No, however, this should be considered when making future PD plans. Evidence-based teacher training should include some of the following attributes: sustained over time, results-driven, standards-based, job-embedded, collaborative, and reflective. Research on effective professional development provides solid guidance on evidence-based practices when designing and delivering professional learning for teachers. The findings have repeatedly pointed to 4 specific features to have the strongest evidence of yielding high gains and rates of transfer. These critical elements include presentation, demonstration, practice with feedback, and ongoing support. While each of these components is beneficial, they must all work together to have the strongest impact. Now scroll down to the next section, Dyslexia Training Designee. Although a school campus may have decided to train more than one K-3 educator, this portion of the literacy plan will only provide information for one primary educator. You will make the selection that most matches the current status of your chosen DTD. Yes, at least one K-3 teacher has completed this training. No, at least one K-3 teacher has not started this training. Or at least one K-3 teacher is currently in progress of this training. There is no penalty for not having completed or starting this training. The MOWR team understands the extended timelines for several approved trainings and that personnel can change throughout the year. If your school's primary dyslexia training designee has completed all 3 portions of the required training, to include understanding and recognizing dyslexia, instruction, and intensifying instruction, select Yes and continue with all required fields. You should then indicate yes that the name DTD meets all legislative requirements and the school has the appropriate documentation on file. Next, enter the legal first and last name for the dyslexia training designee on your campus and their job title. You may have more than one designee. Please only provide information for the primary dyslexia training designee. The name entered here should match what is listed on all attached documents below. Next, use the drop-down for each of the 3 required trainings. Some approved trainings meet all 3 requirements. In this case, you will make that selection for each option. Lastly, upload all Word or PDF certificates to show 100% completion of the DTD training or trainings. File names should include the DTD first and last name and clearly distinguish the DTD areas completed. You must click the green Upload Files button before moving on. If your school's primary dyslexia training designee has not yet started any portion of the required training for instruction, intensifying instruction, or understanding and recognizing dyslexia, select No and continue with all required fields. Decisions need to be made at this time for the anticipated start date and trainings which will be completed this year. You will select the calendar start date for the anticipated trainings for this select dyslexia training designee. Enter the legal first and last name of the identified dyslexia training designee on your campus and their job title. You may have more than one designee in mind, but only provide information for the primary dyslexia training designee. Lastly, use the drop-down for each of the 3 required trainings, which will be determined as the chosen trainings for the selected designee. Some approved trainings meet all 3 requirements. In this case, you will make that selection for each option. If your school's primary DTD is currently in progress, select at least one K-3 teacher is currently in progress of this training and complete all required fields. First, use the calendar icon to select the date for the anticipated completion date. The MOWR team understands that some approved trainings are lengthy, and an anticipated completion date may extend months or even years. Next, enter the legal first and last name of the identified DTD on your campus and their primary job title. Use the drop-down selections for each instruction, intensifying instruction, and understanding and recognizing dyslexia trainings which are in progress. Finally, upload any certificates already earned for one or more of the completed trainings. All certificates uploaded in this section of the literacy plan must be official vendor-branded certificates and include the following requirements: title of training course or module, name of the vendor or training organization, name of participant, date or dates of the learning opportunity, the specific focus area or areas of the training or module, and the number of clock hours completed. Other miscellaneous documents or school-created certificates will not be accepted. The DTD is required to provide evidence of training in each of the following areas: reading instruction, intensifying instruction, and understanding and recognizing dyslexia. This portion of the literacy plan will be especially useful to the MOWR team as we continue to provide additional support of this new legislative requirement. Once all professional learning and dyslexia training designee information has been entered appropriately, you may now click Save My Work and Ready to Submit. If all information has been completed as necessary, you will receive a success notification for both of those actions. And the Professional Development Plan tab at the top has now turned green. You may close your browser and return to the literacy plan at this time, or you may now move on to the final requirements portion of the literacy plan. For each component of the literacy plan, the Move On When Reading team has developed specific guidance. On the administrator's page of the Move On When Reading website, you can expand the blue bar for professional development for additional information on the topics shared today. Continue watching the Move On When Reading Application Support Series for guidance on each step of both the literacy plan and literacy assessment data submission processes. As always, please contact Move On When Reading with any further questions.